welcome to our live stream. And today is a very special day, not because it's the last live stream of the year, but today is a very special day because we have very special guests with us. And to kickstart, it's going to be a little bit longer because there's a lot of things to talk about and discuss. And some of the images that we're going to show, viewers' discretion is required. All right, it's needed. So it's gonna touch you for sure, for sure. I mean, let us welcome, okay? Let us welcome Jeff Jackson, all the way from the United States. Jeff, how are you? You have to unmute yourself. How are you?
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Oh, I think we are all dying to hear your story, but let me just give you our viewers a brief introduction of your situation. Jeff suffered externally quite gruesome skin injury, disease. I don't know what you call it, but it's not something that he wanted. And unfortunately, it happened. So before we show you the photos and pictures that he has sent to me, maybe, Jeff, you can tell us, or maybe we should show them first. What do you think?
Show them and tell at the same time, maybe?
Yeah, show and tell at the same time. Yeah, that's the best. All right, that's a good one. So there you go. And
they're still rough to look at.
Yeah, so this is
that right there is scalp psoriasis. Just to let everybody know first, after the second vaccination shot, within 30 minutes, I started having an allergic reaction. Never had no skin problems before. So it was kind of overwhelming, to be honest. Even looking at it right now, it's very overwhelming, but I started the severe itching and the burning, and within 5 days, I was covered head to toe, literally head to toe, in plaques and shedding my skin. And this went on for 9.5 months straight.
Wow. And you were diagnosed as a vaccine injury?
I was diagnosed. I had 2 biopsies come back positive for lichenoid dermatitis, scalp psoriasis, and inverse psoriasis.
All right. Let's just show some other photos as well, and you can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard to look at.
I know. It's
what makes it okay to look at now is knowing that I don't have it right now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Awesome. But when you had it for what, about did you mention 9 months, or was it more than a year? I mean,
I actually looked like this for a little over 9 months.
Okay.
I wasn't able to leave my apartment because skin would be flying off me left and right. I'm pretty sure you'll come to a picture here pretty soon where it shows the dustpan right there. If you'll look at that one right there, you can see it on my eyelids. I try and lay down at night. My skin became so sensitive that those plaques would fall off my eyelids, and they would pierce me like knives all in my face and all over my body, and they would drop into my eyes, and I'd lose vision for days at a time.
That's behind your ear, right? So
yes, sir. There's right there about 1 inch from the ear, it looks like a crystal that's hanging off my ear, and that's actually the development of a skin tag. I never had no skin tags in my life, and now I've got like 50 of them. Under my armpits is real bad. Behind my ears is real bad too, like in that picture.
Yeah, I didn't show the armpit pictures, but maybe we'll show others.
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, you can even see right there in the armpits.
Yeah, you can see
how black they are.
Yeah, absolutely, you can see it. Yeah.
The pain is I can't describe the pain. I've suffered from gout since I was 11 years old, and everybody knows how painful gout can be. This is way more painful than gout. There was nights where it was so painful I'd wake up on the shower floor with the water hitting me still, and wake up an hour later not knowing what happened. I'd pass out from the pain.
Wow. And you're a big guy, and when you say it's that painful, wow, I cannot imagine.
6'1", 6'1", 250 pounds, climb cell phone towers and go straight to the gym. You know, I thought I was a pretty tough guy, but you know, this will humble you
Yeah.
in a heartbeat.
And look at that. So, I mean, do you still have all this? I mean, like, tell
No.
us.
No, sir.
No
No,
more.
sir. Eventually, you know, with so many great and amazing people will come into your life when this happens, and they share information about what they may know or cures or remedies and stuff like that. And it's basically, for me, it became a trial and error situation to where I became my own lab rat, I guess you could say.
Yep.
But 75% of my skin problems I've gotten taken care of by using a mixture of what I put together: colloidal silver, the neem oil with aloe vera and tea tree oil, and then I'd sprinkle the powder zeolite on top of it, and then I'd rub it all over me, my whole body. Within
Yeah.
5 days, I basically got it to go away. But there were still places, the top of my head, my underarms, my under region,
Yeah.
and the lower part, lumbar part of my back. There was still problems. And that's when this amazing device came in handy. That right there, if you look at the picture on my left, which would be camera left, I believe, I was able to cross my legs. I had a buddy come over here that helped me out one day, and I said, "Hey, watch this." I crossed my leg, and if you ever seen a lava lamp, that redness would move around like the lava in a lava lamp.
Wow.
You could actually sit and watch the color move through my legs.
And this, yeah.
That was on my back. That is what the actual plaques. I have to go back to the dermatologist, and what I originally thought it was plaque psoriasis. But after the 2 biopsies, it came back as the lichenoid dermatitis.
And this is a residue in the skin.
Every single day, I would sweep up my apartment 2 times, and that's what I'd get. Before I'd go lay down at bed at night, I'd have to sweep off my bed because of all the skin in the sheets and the, man, that's hard to look at.
How to imagine what you went through. And there's also a short video that you sent, which is actually showing us the sound, cracking sound.
Yes, this is from the psoriatic
even your
arthritis.
even your neighbor can hear it. So we'll play that. Okay, we'll play that. Yeah, they've just played that, and it's amazing.
I mean, I was people accuse you of using clickers or something to make that noise, and it wasn't. That was my knees. And now I could stand up. I'm sitting here moving my leg right now. No sound.
No sound at all.
No sound.
So how did you get to know about Prive International and IteraCare, the device? I mean, how did you get to know about it? Tell us.
I've been on social media promoting my story and all over, and I've gained a lot of people in my life. One of the people who is a godsending and a pure blessing was Stacy Murray, who goes by the One Fairy.
The One Fairy.
And yes, sir. She messaged me on November 20th on my Instagram, and the exact message say, "Hey, where are you from? I want to send you a wand." And I didn't know what it was. Of course, I'd already had a little bit of knowledge of frequencies and stuff like that, just natural healing. But she said, "I'm going to send you this for free." And that right there touched me. I mean, when someone says, "Hey, you go to a doctor to try and get, help and everything, they want your insurance. So they want you to pay right up front. And here's an individual
who doesn't know you.
Who doesn't know me. She said she had followed me for a few months, and she felt compelled to message me and knew my situation was going on and everything. So she sent it to me, and I told her right off the bat, after all the treatments and supplements and, the dietary changes and everything and nothing working, you become hesitant.
Skeptical, right? Very skeptical.
And you become hesitant to use anything because it's like, it's not going to work.
I know.
So she sent it, and it came in the mail in about a week. And a couple of days later, I tried it for the first time, and it was on a Saturday. I'll never forget it. She told me what to do. Is what I did is I used the wand on my entry and exit points, which would be my palms and my soles. Yeah. I charged up a glass of water, and I drank my water. And then I used the setting on 1. just to see what it'd be like. I did my palms and my soles of my feet, and then I focused on my stomach area and my head. That's all I did was on level 1. And
How
I really
many
couldn't tell you.
minutes did you the
15
first time?
minute session, one
15 minutes.
15-minute
Okay,
session.
so you followed, yeah,
Yes, sir.
to the
And that was on a Saturday. Well, I skipped Sunday because I had some stuff I had to take care of. But then on Monday, I decided to, on my next session, I was going to do the 15-minute section, and I used it on the level 3.
okay.
So I used it same way, the same exact way, drank the water and everything. And then that's when I started feeling the difference. I was talking to Stacy on the phone, and I was pacing back and forth. I had so much energy, it was like a natural energy. It
Wow.
just felt great after being locked up in this apartment, for 16 months. You just you lose your energy. You lay down in bed, everything depletes from you. You just don't want to do nothing. And I even told Stacy, after the second treatment, the 15-minute treatment, that's when I took those pictures of the my underarm problem, and you could just tell the difference. Skin tags were shrinking up, some gone away, coloration was gone. There was no more scabbing or plaquing. It was amazing. So that put everything in motion for me to try a little bit harder. By the 5th day, I'll never forget it. I got dressed and I told myself I was going to get out. For the
So
first time in a year and a half, I went and sat down at a restaurant and ate a meal.
wow.
When you can't leave your house and you have 3 visitors over 16 months and you're doing everything for yourself and you're just trying to, it was rough. You just don't have no more social interaction, I guess.
I know people,
And
they
that's
try
what made
to
it so hard.
people avoided you, and
Oh yeah,
they call you all kinds of things, right? You mentioned, I
yeah.
mean,
I've had memes made about me calling me a snake. One of the doctors that was supposedly helping me at the beginning went on a podcast, and him and the host of the podcast called me a serpent shedding snake toxins on people. And
wow.
the sad thing about it is 8 months later, he goes on to another doctor's podcast and claims that he was given the wrong information and that he was wrong. But no apology to me. So that all hurt. And far from that, I've had death threats, many death threats, people telling me to kill myself, people telling me that they were going to kill me or take my life because I was imposing harm to them by spreading toxins. The first time I went into the grocery store, I had kids running from me because skin would be falling off of me. The doctor even put it in the diagnosis that it was the most impressive thing he'd ever seen, because they had to sweep up a dustpan full of dead skin.
Man, you've gone through a lot. You are really, really brave. I mean, and look at you now. I mean, maybe externally it looks much, much better now, but internally,
Yes, sir.
I guess you're still healing. And how many percent would you say, because of the IteraCare, that externally and internally you're on your way to recovery? How many percent would
Yes,
you
sir.
put it?
I would say the extent of the externally, after I used the stuff that I made, I'd say that there was still about 35 to 40% maybe of the problem left. And because of the Itera wand, I think I'd maybe say there's like 5 to 10% left that I need to take care of externally.
Yeah.
Internally, now that I'm able to move my knees, I wasn't able to move any of my toes on my right foot. Now I can sit here and wiggle them plain as day. One of the greatest things is that I didn't get a stand with my wand. So to get my back, I'd have to put it on a pillow because I couldn't move my shoulders real good because of the arthritic, the psoriasis. But now I can sit and you see full range of motion.
Wow.
I
The
wasn't able to move my
motion.
neck.
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't able to
great.
turn my head. Now turn it side to side.
Amazing.
So I don't know if I can put a percentage on the internally, but I can tell you I have a life again. I moved
know.
out of my bedroom. I'm in my
Yeah.
living room.
And you could get out there and have some food in a restaurant or something.
Yes, sir. I have a buddy in Mobile who was injured, and he's going through a very rough time. And 2 weeks ago, I just got up one day and I said, you know what, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to give him a wand to
Yep.
use. I didn't give him a wand because I couldn't afford it yet, but I went over there and I did a session for him, and I told Mr. John, when you're looking at him, he has the myocarditis. He had to have 2 splints. He had clots removed, all kinds of problems. And he looks, when you see him now, it's almost like he looks dead. Like he just, eyes shut, he just don't move. But after that one session, I told Mr. John that he had a look in his eyes, and what is something that I like to call the alive look. You just looked alive. He had energy.
Jeff,
So,
Jeff. I mean, you've gone through a lot. Look, listen, we're gonna give you one. All right, we're gonna give you a classic. We're gonna be shipped to you soon. All right, so.
I have the one, and
no, you can
it's
give it
amazing.
to
Oh,
whoever
okay.
you know.
Yes,
So,
sir.
all right, okay.
Yeah,
So
he
we're
actually
good.
tried to get on the live stream last Friday, and every time he
I know.
typed it in, it would erase it. So
There you go. You don't even have to try.
no,
I
sir.
feel you. I feel you. All right. So
I do appreciate it, Doctor.
we're gonna give you one. And all I can say is thank you so much. You're brave to come forward to share. And I think tell our audience, why is it that you want to come forward to share? I mean, you're not
The main
against.
reason,
You're not
just like
against.
I've told
Yeah.
everybody else on the other podcasts, or anytime I've gone public with this, I do want to get healing. That's my number one concern, to heal myself. But after that, I want other people to be healed, because there's people out there still that I know of, or they don't want to come out. They're being ridiculed or something like that. They're scared. They're afraid. Well, I want to be able to help people. People need to know that there's other ways, and it's not just about the injured. Let's go ahead and set that out there. This isn't about just the people who have gotten injured from that. There's all kinds of helpful benefits from this. All you got to do is go research it. It's amazing, some of these stories, these testimonies of what people share. It's just amazing. So yeah, I just want people to know, because it's amazing. It really is. I can't. It's almost so much joy that it leaves you word struck. You can't speak about it.
So it has now become your why.
Oh yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And it is
Anyway.
definitely a daily routine, because if I stop a day or I take a break, I can tell. You can tell. You really can. And that's one of those things that says, hey, you're doing something right, because something's working. You don't use it, it stops working. It's got to be working. So stick with it.
I know. Well, thanks a lot, Jeff, for coming to this live stream and to share with so many viewers who will be watching this live stream after this. And I'm sure they will be listening to your story and maybe give it a go, right? Just give it a go.
I appreciate y'all so much. You just don't know.
I feel you, man. So take care and see you soon, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you have heard from the man himself. Yeah. It takes a lot, when you never expected, and just within hours, as you heard it, he felt something was different already with his skin. And after the next few days, wow, all hell breaks loose, isn't it? And when you have been in this situation for months and months, and in his case, for such a long time, people start to avoid you, calling you snake or whatever. I mean, it hurts a lot, And miracles somehow do happen, right? And yeah, the one fairy, Stacy, amazing woman. Please, I know you're watching right now, Stacy. Continue to do what you do. You're doing great. All right. So before we introduce our next guest, I have to tell, last live stream, wow, hundreds of people participated. All right. Hundreds of people. And it was very difficult to just narrow it down to 10 people. And so I requested from the management and I said, can we increase to 20? And they were gracious enough immediately without any hesitation. So we increased it to 20. So right now, I'm just going to very quickly announce who are the 20 winners. So among the 20 winners, of course, we include you're gonna see the list anyway. All right, as I'm gonna read out to you. Just a moment. Let me just get it. Yeah, there you go. Hope you guys can see it. So we had supposedly 10 free giveaways, but now it's 20. And yeah, these are the winners. All right. So bear with us because now it's a festive season, and let's get on with the new year. And we'll try to arrange for you, hopefully by the first week of January 2023. Amanda Johnson. All right. I'm sure you're happy for her, right, to get an additional unit. Karin Helenius Prowl from Sweden. Melissa Strange from Indiana, USA. Marita Lucia Liak from Pasig City, the Philippines. Marites Cadiente Dulay, Poblacion, Makati, Philippines. And Miss Jess Rowlands. Yes, in case I saw the ID. It's also spelled as Miss, Miss Jess Rowlands. From Kent, England. And Paula Jean Green, Ohio, USA. Ara Ariane Di Tugaon, Davao City, Philippines. Nyagap Yaki Simon. All right, could be Simon, I don't know. Kisumu, Kenya. And Jill Mogenbach, Michigan, USA. Lynette Bendanilo Bandola, Davao City, Philippines. Harin Maktaas Famado, Davao City. So quite a few from Davao City. Of course, we don't pick based on location. We pick based on why and who they are, right? Nadia Rosman from Slovenia. I hope I pronounced the names correctly, guys. Forgive me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Tamara Sain from Alberta, Canada. Marie Ananda Shakti from Ireland. I spelled this wrongly. I think it's Tay Cheng Swan from Malaysia, Penang. Barbara McIntyre from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And we have Ebenezer Bote from New Jersey, USA. Yeah, spoke to him today. Great guy. Ali Viljami Kosku from Sweden. And last but not least, Mr. Jeff Jackson. I saved the best for last. All right. So there you have it. And those of you who didn't win, you should be happy for all these guys who did. All right. And I mean, everyone is a winner, really, with IteraCare. Everyone is a winner. And let's hope we can spread this to the rest of the world. So without much further ado, let us welcome our next guest. But before I introduce him, I have to say this, right? Joey Phillips, right, is a leader, medical researcher, epigeneticist, I hope I pronounced it correctly, health advocate, and master DNA. So can we please welcome our special guest, Joseph Phillips, all the way from the United States. Hi, Joey. How are you?
Greetings. Good morning from my side of the world.
I know it's pretty early. I know. And after hearing the story of Jeff, yeah, you were in the background. It's very touching, and I feel you. You know, when I called you weeks ago and we were talking, and I feel that your purpose is to help humanity, to help people, to get down to the truth, to get down to the real stuff, you know, to make it happen, to heal people, to do whatever you can. And you self-study a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff you learn by yourself. You marvel me. One thing that really got me into, you know, calling you to the live stream is to know more about your DNA. I mean, you from the DNA of individuals, you basically can tell what is wrong with them. I mean, how do you do that? Please share with us.
Sure. So little background on me before I tell you about the DNA diligence, and that's just what it is, leaving no stone unturned. You have to put in the time and the research and the study in order to uncover the nuggets, right? Otherwise, everyone would know what the nuggets were.
Yeah.
And so I got introduced to Prife International from a good friend of mine from Las Vegas, Mr. Sean Moshes. He knew I was into frequency. I had been a bioacoustic technician before, where we would record people's voices, and it would take that voice recording and we would plug it into some software, and it would convert it into a numerical mathematical frequency matrix that would print out a report for us to be able to analyze for our clients. And it would tell you genes and enzymes and pathways and vitamins, minerals, I mean, you name it. The only problem was you kind of needed a PhD to interpret the data. So I would spend hours and hours and hours, sometimes 16 hours a day, researching complex medical journals to try to figure out why those things were coming up on the reports. Well, he knew that I was into frequency, so he sent me one of the 45-minute presentations. I got about 2 minutes into it, and I was like, yes, I want it. I gotta have that device.
I think you felt the vibration of the device.
Yeah, well, I have this frequency determines physiology, I mean, that's just the bottom line of how the universe works. It all works on frequency and vibration, like Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets, you got to look into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I began doing. And I was always kind of curious to figure out how. I always want to know how things work. I have a curious mind. So I don't have a medical background by any means. I wanted to save my money and not go into debt. And I actually wanted a proper education on how the body works. So I started teaching myself. Unfortunately, I don't teach the necessary things you need to know in medical school.
Yes.
Schools have been hijacked long time ago. The schools have been hijacked. The pharmaceutical companies, Pharmacia, they're in a business. It's all a business, and their business is keeping you well enough but sick enough at the same time. And so I wanted to change things, and I like doing that for people as well, to try to figure out, what they can do as an alternative means of therapy to be able to reverse engineer these types of things. And so I came across these databases one day where they list all the maladies, they list all the diseases, they list all the pathways. And so it's very easy for me now, been doing this for years, to be able to figure out which genes and pathways are associated with any disease, really. And so that's where the name DNA Diligence came, because that's what we're doing. We're uncovering exactly what's going on with an individual.
So how does this device fit into the scheme of things, like of what you're doing? Because you have other modalities.
To go inside outside approach.
I can just imagine when you grab the device delivered to you for the first time, you'll be experimenting it, maybe opening it, and I don't know. I can just imagine seeing you doing those stuff.
I got this device, and it was perfect timing for me because I have my own personal testimony. I'd been in a really bad car accident years ago where I rolled a Jeep down a cliff, and I was in a hospital for 6 months, couldn't walk. Long story short, my whole body got crushed, and I knew at one point in time in the future I was going to have knee surgery. And so it had gotten to the point to where it was so painful for me, I couldn't even, drive my girls around in the vehicle because my knee would lock up and I couldn't hit the brake. And so it got really scary.
Wow.
And I just, right around that time, it just so happened I got the device, and I immediately started on my knees. And literally in 3 days, the pain was gone. I could sleep again. It was just like, it was a miracle. I got my life back. I could sleep again because the pain was so bad I could barely sleep, So I have a lot of my own personal testimonies. I've been using it on my father as well. His testimonials are just outstanding. My whole other side of the family thought he was on his deathbed, and I pretty much brought him back to life with this device,
Wow.
He suffers from microcirculation issues, deep vein thrombosis type issues, is at risk for blood clots and things like that. And there's nothing on the planet that is a more impactful product on microcirculation than the terahertz device. It's just, there's nothing else like it,
Yeah.
And so the way that it kind of works, if you don't mind, I'll just segue right into this and maybe play out a little bit of what Jeff was speaking about earlier with the skin.
Yep.
We are one big hydroelectric machine, right? We're 70% water, and we have electrical channels in the body. They're called ion channels. And if you have an issue with an ion channels, they're called channelopathies. And there's tons of them, tons and tons and tons of them. But the primary way that this device works is obviously through the skin, right? It has to penetrate that barrier. in order to get down into the bone. And that is called what's called mechanotransduction. And that's just a fancy way of saying how a frequency penetrates the skin, right? Mechanotransduction. And that all works on what's called piezoelectricity. Okay. Every single device that you have that you use technology-wise works off piezoelectricity. And that's basically how an applied pressure, if you will, creates an electronic force. Okay. And so we have these receptors all throughout our skin that transmit that signal from the device into the body. And again, it works on piezoelectricity. Well, you have piezo genes, piezo 1 and piezo 2, they're called. And they're extremely important for the blood, for microcirculation as well. In fact, if your piezo genes are not working correctly, it's associated with like dehydration of the blood vessel even, okay? So the piezo gene, and I'm a real big fan of knowing what words mean. I think it's really important to figure out what the etymology of words mean. And so over the years, I've been doing this DNA diligence. I've been able to uncover kind of a secret code hidden within the naming of the genes. In other words, whoever's naming these genes is doing it for very specific reasons. And so the very first time I came across this type of information, there's a calcium signaling gene in the body, and it kind of works on piezoelectricity and mechanotransduction. And if you don't know this, calcium signaling sits in the center of the epicenter of almost literally everything that takes place in the body. In fact, when the sperm hits the egg, it's this huge calcium zinc flash that takes place right at the moment of conception, followed by a huge calcium flux. And that calcium flux forms these waves. They actually recorded this, that form like a triskelion type of symbol. And if you don't know, the triskelion symbol is one of the most ancient symbols known to man. And what it does is it conducts electricity, is exactly what it does. So you have this unique geometry taking place in the body through calcium signaling, forming these geometric wave-like patterns associated with what's called the Aurea channels. They're called the Aurea, spelled O-R-A-I. And the first time I came across this gene, I was researching a client's, I think it was involved with seizures or something like that, if I remember correctly. And I came across this gene where it talked about the gatekeepers of heaven, peace and harmony and justice. And it's associated with a Greek mythology. So I said to myself, why are they naming genes after Greek mythology, you know? And I just thought that was the most fascinating thing to be able to uncover. And over the years, I've been able to uncover hundreds of genes that they have named after ancient mythologies. Another one is callld Nanog. It's the Chur de Nanog. It's an ancient Celtic word that means like promised land.
Wow,
like
very interesting.
Promised land, land of the youth, if you will. And they named a gene after this because it's intimately involved with stem cells, right? That's kind of the correlation between the two. Is a stem cell can move around in the body and form whatever cell is needed at the time to regenerate tissue, internal organs, and things like that. And I was able to figure out how the terahertz frequency impacts that whole mechanism. And in fact, it does. But when I started looking at the etymology of the alias of the word piezo in the gene cards, it had an alias that's called MIB. And I thought that was a very strange alias to name a gene that's called piezo. They don't fit. And so I knew something was awry with it. So I looked further into it, into the etymology of it. And it means fat is what it means, interlaced with fat. And so you can go find the research study where the piezoelectric signaling is fine-tuned by dietary fatty acids. And the way that that works is through fatty acid metabolism in the mitochondria through ATP generation. And so if you want to produce energy in the body and enhance mitochondrial function, dietary fatty acids fine-tune the piezoelectric signal in the body. So when you're doing this internal-external approach, right, the problem with the Western diet is we're eating all these horrible fats. Well, fat isn't the enemy, it's the types of fats that we're eating, you know,
Wow.
in this modern Western
So
diet.
so basically it's your research in the DNA is uncoding, right, all these different names and finding out what is the real purpose, right? I mean, why they are called such and such a name. So with IteraCare, with the terahertz frequency, how does that tie in together with what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I take on a client, obviously I'm looking at the genes and the pathways, and I'm trying to figure out which compounds in nature have the ability to modulate that gene and pathway. And then every single time we're doing internal-external approach. So we're always utilizing the magic wand, right, to be able to enhance, right? So for example, if I was to put somebody on a formulation, I'm always going to recommend that they charge their water and charge the formulation with it as well. Like if it's like a powdered supplement, for example, you know, if it's a powdered supplement, you should be charging these things before you actually take them, because it's going to enhance the bioavailability is what's called, right? So a lot of people talk about expensive vitamins, and the way that the terahertz frequency works on bioavailability and bioabsorption, utilizing God-given natural compounds, is through what's called clathrin-mediated endocytosis. I don't want to lose anybody here.
Yeah.
But clathrin is a very unique protein in the body that is a transport cargo type of protein. It imports and exports, like UPS, shipping, if you will.
Okay.
And I was able to uncover
delivery.
There you go. Yeah, transport delivery. Well, viruses and pathogens hijack that pathway as well in order to gain entry into the cell. They're utilizing the same routes, if you will. They're trying to block the route, you know. But what I was able to uncover was that the terahertz frequency is able to modulate clathrin-mediated endocytosis, thereby enhancing bioabsorption. I think the number was like 30 to 40% increase. And there's just so many studies I was able to uncover with the terahertz frequency. It's absolutely phenomenal, you know. So
that's from a frequency guy like you, and very technical guy.
We were talking about the pyramids a little bit earlier, and how it was like might have been this energy, you know, type of station, if you will. And I was kind of laughing in the back of my mind, because when you look up the word piezo 1 in the gene cards with the MIB alias, when you look a little bit further into the etymology of that word, and it doesn't stand for men in black, although it probably could, this MIB alias. When you look into it a little bit further, not only does it mean fat, but it also means calcium carbonate, limestone.
Limestone,
also the name of it. And isn't it interesting that the pyramids were lined with limestone, calcium carbonate, which would have been like this huge gleaming type of sun-like, you know, magnification if you were to look at it from abroad before the last pharaoh took all of the limestone off. And so then I was able to uncover a study that talked about these microcrystals in the pineal gland.
The pineal gland,
The pineal gland.
Yeah,
So
it sort of gets calcified as you grow,
This is your like spirit gland, you know, it's what connects you to source, you know. And so I was able to uncover how a terahertz frequency might vibrate those crystal lattices. That's what they call them within the pineal gland. And they were able to uncover 2 forms of microcrystals in the pineal gland. One of them was calcium carbonate,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was calcium oxalate. So if people are not familiar with calcium oxalate crystals, they're like little shards of glass that can damage the inner lining of the blood vessel and cause internal damage, you know?
Yeah.
And it happens more often than not. In fact, it's probably the #1 cause of atherosclerosis, heart disease related issues, blood clots, things of that nature, because when that calcium oxalate crystal cuts the inner lining of the blood vessel, you have cholesterol that comes to the scene to plug up the hole so you don't have a leaky blood vessel.
Yeah.
So then cholesterol gets blamed for all the problems.
For the plaque,
it's
absolutely.
saving you, you know?
Yeah.
And so to break up all that stuff, you can simply use the terahertz frequency. But what was really fascinating about this study was that, and I'll just read it so I don't mess this up because it's so profound. These pineal microcrystals appear to stack in a geometrical shape, and the geometry is called rhombohedron. Is a rhombohedron, a geometry in the pineal gland. And if you look up the etymology, again, I like looking at words. It forms another word called the rhombi. And if you look a little bit further, this is what we do with DNA diligence, we're constantly uncovering things. But if you look a little bit further into the etymology of that word, it literally means a magician's circle. So what is a magician's circle? It was a sacred energy space that they used from protection from evil to counter disease-carrying demons. That's what a magician's circle is. So when you terahertz the pineal gland, you are forming this geometrical shape that forms the same exact geometry as a magician's circle to ward off disease-carrying demons.
You know, Joey,
so cool.
This is pretty heavy stuff, really. I mean, for people in the energy world, they will appreciate what you're talking about. But for people who are not in the energy world, they'll be like, huh, what is this guy talking about? But anyway.
Just know it's helping the body tremendously. That's the bottom.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, because we are running a bit out of time as well. And thank you so much, Joey, for coming forward to share your knowledge. And for those of you who really, want a better understanding about DNA and stuff like that, you can always look him up in Facebook, right? And he's always willing to help. All right. So thank you. And yes, there you have it, guys. Very interesting guest that we have today. And well, before we end, all of us, right, get to say something. That is, we want to wish every one of you. And today, we also have a special guest, John King, because John is also linked to Jeff, and he was supposed to, John went back, I think, a couple of live streams before. And that's where Jeff was supposed to, come on. But anyway, he's here today, which is most important. So all of us would like to wish each and every one of you watching right now a happy, wonderful 2023, and also be safe while you're enjoying the New Year's Eve party, right? And we look forward to a better year in 2023, where we can save more people out there. And if you think that Prive International has done pretty well within the first 1.5 years, I think we are just at the tip of the iceberg. We barely started, really. There are so many people out there who still have yet to listen about how terahertz, how IteraCare can work for them. And so many people out there in different parts of the world who have not heard about us. So hopefully you'll be the ones to share with them. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Joey and John. Thank you. Thanks so much. You've been very supportive. So Happy New Year and bye for now.
Happy New Year. Yes. 2023, here we come.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Medical disclaimers. IteraCare Classic and IteraCare Pro are not medical devices. The information provided on our website is for educational purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. Please consult a medical professional or healthcare provider if you are seeking medical advice, diagnoses, or treatment. IteraCare International shall not be liable for risks or issues associated with using or acting upon the information on our website. IteraCare International shall not be liable or responsible for the actions, misrepresentations, or negligence of our members who are independent contractors.